Vin,
Hello.
The Last Witch Hunter is such a fun film.
Oh, wow.
It's so much fun.
Thank you.
How would you describe it though? Because I heard you say it was the perfect date movie, and I can kind of see where you're coming from.
Except for the fact that no one goes on dates anymore.
No, that's true.
It was actually Jimmy Fallon that said, perfect date movie, and I was like, it just occurred to me that I don't think that people go on dates as much. And so most people will probably make it a group event, or a girls' night out, or a, one for the boys, or, yeah, I think it's the kind of movie that you are going to want to share with other people.
Well, I went with a friend actually, and we both thought that it could easily be a TV series, a bit like Buffy.
Sure, it could turn into a TV series.
Is that something that you'd be interested in doing, maybe?
I'd be keen on exploring more chapters, but it definitely makes you feel as though there are many stories to be told, especially because think of the span of time. You're being introduced to a character in the 13th century and simultaneously seeing how those events in the 13th century are affecting the same character, who happens to be immortal, in present-day New York City. And our imagination we can't help but to think about all the other stories.
It's definitely something I'd like to see.
Yeah.
I would really like that.
I mean, just last night I was on the phone with the director Breck, and he was sharing with me the storyline for the next one, and I was just so intrigued by it.
Ah, so there is a sequel in the works.
Lionsgate from the very beginning wanted to create multiple stories, and I think it's also because there's so much to be said on the topic of magic. Again, you can't help but to imagine where he was in the 16th century, where he was during the Civil War, these pivotal moments in history, what Calder's take was.
There is lots to explore. Do you like, obviously you're so much the action man in this film, do you like being the action man? Do you like being the funny guy, or do you like being the villain in movies?
Well, I guess that's a good question. I guess I'm most comfortable in the anti-hero zone. And whether it employs action or not is usually secondary to what the character is about, or what the story is about, or what the message of the story is, or the theme of the story.
Yeah, for sure. And you've come so far from the days when you first started out with multifacial,
right? Like
producing, writing,
sure.
Directing. Are we going to see you maybe move in that direction again? I mean, there was talk that you could direct Fast and Furious 8,
yes,
and then
there was. Yeah, if you ask my parents, they're dying for me to go back to directing. They feel like there's a sensitivity that I have that plays to storytelling as a director. But I'm also really fortunate that the films that I'm in and the characters that I've played, people are excited about their evolution. So that kind of stacks up a lot of time. And to direct a movie, you'd have to essentially be off the market for a year and a half. I kind of have been waiting, and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know if I've been too pig-headed about it, but I kind of been waiting for Hannibal. My heart has been set on directing a trilogy about the Punic Wars, and with Hannibal Barca as the central character. And there's a great possibility that will be the first big film that I tackle as a director again.
That will be exciting to see.
It will be very exciting.
And just very quickly, just before I go, because you visit memories in here so much, if you go back to visit one memory in your life, what would it be?
I would love to see myself as a kid. I'd love to see the time when, what it was like. And I recently visited the theater that I broke into when I was 7 years old. It's very interesting. It was at a place called Theater for the New City. And it was at the ground level of the Jane Street Hotel in the West Village. And just a month ago, I went by there and I saw the stoops, and I imagined taking my banana seat bike with my gang of 6 and 7-year-olds and throwing my banana seat bike up on the stoop, leaving it there because you didn't have to worry about it being stolen. And I remember seeing a door that you walk down a few steps on the right, and I remembered it being open. And I remember being the type of kid, the New York dirty kind of city kid, that would see an open door as an opportunity. Not always an opportunity to do something good, but an opportunity. And we were scavengers in a way as kids. And I remember being a kid and looking at that open door, and us kids sneaking into that open door to see what we could find or what trouble we can get into. And if right now, at this moment, if I could think of a time that I would have loved to have seen, I would have loved to have watched me as a kid kind of suss out and scope this open door
Well,
below
that's
street level.
a very vivid memory, so thank you
My
for your
pleasure.
time, Vin.
Oh, anytime.
Such a fun film, like I said.
Oh, thank you.